Hello everyone, welcome to an all new episode of the Indic Explorer show. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the show. Your support means a lot to us. Now, when Bharat Muni in the first millennium BC wrote the Natya Shastra, he didn't write it just as an expression for entertainment, but he also wrote it as an expression for his creativity, for Indian cultural life, and the philosophy as well. In fact, the famous Rasa theory, which comes from there, asserts that entertainment is a desired effect of performance arts, but not the primary goal. And that the primary goal is to transport the individual in the audience into another parallel reality, full of wonder, where they experience the essence of their own consciousness and reflect on spiritual and moral questions. That is the value of ancient Indian theatre. And just in the same vein, modern Indian theatre also continues to enthrall us. And to talk about this particular subject, I have with me a very special guest, Ajit Chitturi from Thespian N. Welcome to the show, Ajit.
Thanks.
So, full disclosure, guys, I was part of this theater group as well, so I have a lot of stake in this. He was the director of many of the readings that I did with him. So it's been great to connect with him after a long time. So let's dive into the topic, Ajit. I want to ask you, what is, because your theatre group is the third oldest theatre group, English theatre group in Chennai. I want to ask you, what's the landscape of English theatre in Chennai? Who are the major players? What are the major venues where it's held? And how does sponsorships generally work?
Huh. Uh, when you said the third oldest existing English theatre group, there were other groups which were there. They were also good, but we lost a few people here and there. Now, English theatre is very, very well or better accepted than the other theatre in Chennai. We see most plays are Western plays, scripts that have been going on so far. The past 1 year, 2 years, or 3 years, the trend has been changing. People are coming out to watch even Indian English plays. Uh, yes, there are the major plays. Of course, the oldest English theatre group in India is the Madras Players, which is from here. There are other groups, English theatre groups like Boardwalkers has been here for some time. And then we are there. There are a few others. I'm talking about pure theatre. I'm not talking about musicals and things like that. A musical, some other people are doing musicals, a couple of them, a couple of new groups, a couple of young groups. There are a couple of old groups also. But pure English theatre, there are just about 4 or 5 which are carrying it on. Now, the scope here, the most preferred venue here is the museum theatre, I think, which has a capacity of around 400 or so. And it's a beautiful, very old theatre within the Madras Museum, the Chennai Museum, which was built by the British, I think, long time ago. That is the most preferred. But but the busiest I feel is the Alliance Francaise of Madras. They are one. They are one entity which promotes theatre. The hire is not that expensive. The seating is wonderful. The acoustics are wonderful. The seating could be only 100 to 150, but the acoustics are wonderful, and they are the most theatre-friendly auditorium. That is the most theatre-friendly auditorium in Chennai, because the hire is not expensive. They provide the generator. There are lights there. The acoustics are pretty good there. There's a sound system, projector, so any kind of theatre can go. So people prefer that. Then there is Lady Andal, of course, the most exclusive auditorium maybe in South India. It's a wonderful auditorium. You enter there, it's like getting into Ramoji Film City, where you enter with a script and come out with a film. That kind of thing it is. Everything is provided. The latest technical equipment is there. The hall itself is beautiful. I remember at one Metro Fest that is done by The Hindu group, a very prominent Mumbai director came here and said that at last Chennai has got a beautiful hall for theatre exclusively. So these are the places There is spaces, of course. We cannot miss a mention to spaces because it is beautiful on the Basanagar beach, facing the Basanagar beach. Uh, it was set up actually by Chandralekha, the famous classical dance exponent. And right now it is with Mr. Sadanand Menon, who runs it very astutely. It's a beautiful working space. I would like to do many plays there. The problem for me is the other three auditoriums are very close by to Viviria's, my place. So we do it here. But for Indian drama, I don't think there's any other place that takes it than spaces. And it is not very commercial, not much commercial. So far, Sadanand ji had made it a point to put it out that we do not charge. But since escalating costs and maintenance has come up, it's, there's nothing that you pay, actually, very little that you pay for a thing there. And it is, once you enter spaces, it gives you a feeling of a Kerala town. Both the auditoriums are, both the places where you can perform are built in Kerala style. And they also do other classical things like Indian dance forms. They give classes for Kalari and all these things.
How is the sponsorship work over there?
It depends, Vinny. There are some exclusive groups which are covered with sponsors. There are groups like mine which have been seeing good sponsorship for the past since 2015 or 16. My sponsors, it's a different case with my own sponsors because they give it to me for the work that I do. And they know that Ajit is never going to overcharge when he needs the extra money to do his shows. He will ask us, otherwise, he doesn't ask. And it's a known fact that what I have been investing my own money, or rather putting in my own money to run theater all these years. It's been 29 years now.
Right. So, I want to ask you because this issue has been discussed a lot in popular media about representation of Indian culture in film, especially Bollywood, right? And also, there is this discussion on how Indian culture and Indian way of life is represented in South films versus Bollywood. I wanted to add one more layer to this conversation. How is Indian culture represented in theatre, regional as well as English theatre?
Ah, that's a wonderful question that you asked because the culture down here in Chennai and the culture about Chennai, that is towards Delhi and wherever you go north, is very different. I've staged a few plays in Delhi. There, the audience likes Indian stories, Indian cultural thing, and those things sell there. And people also like to watch those things. This culture, I think, it also comes to Hyderabad, down till Hyderabad, where my friend Vinay Verma of Sutradhar, he does Indian cultural theater. Cultural in the sense, his theater, his shows are seeped into Indian culture, even, from the mythological times till even today. He deals with many playwrights who are very popular and accepted in the North, Hindi playwrights. He deals with them and he works with them. In Chennai, it will be difficult for me to sell a Hindi show. Vinay Verma is a famed person. He is the person for whom the great Mr. Shashi Kapoor had come in a wheelchair to watch his performance at Prithvi Theatre when he was doing Mera Himanshu. But he sees the difference here. Here, patriotism is there, but as you know, Chennai has never seen a war. So we have been pretty safe throughout history. So there's not so much of, you can't put too much of nationalistic things here. Maybe in local theaters, that is colloquial theater, it will work. But English theater, still we are into, most of us are into the Western scripts. I too am into the Western scripts sometimes. But now the trend is slowly but surely changing. Madras Players is adapting Mr. P.C. Ramakrishna, of course, the Doyen of Chennai's theatre. He is adapting local stories into English. He has done so many stories from history, like Trinity was one of his beautiful show, which drew in crowds of 1,000 plus every time it performed it subsequently. So I think there is a lot of difference. In North, I see I can go and watch. We did a play, Khanna and Kunti and God Gets It Wrong Again. Both are by famous playwrights. One is by Tagore himself, the other one is by multiple Sahitya Academy winner, Mr. Om Chiri Narayana Pillai. We had a very good response to these Indian English plays.
But how much of, in terms of the presentation and the format and the themes, how much connectedness is there in Indian modern theatre with its ancient, you know, forms, the kinds that used to happen in the past?
You're talking about Indian English modern theaters. I don't think there is too much connect because that audience is different and this audience is different. Huh? I don't see too many people who go for these Western plays. My own Western plays, the people who have come, I don't think most of them in Chennai would like to see an Indian play of classical times and things like that.
Okay.
So there's a
Okay.
difference. I mean, there's clearly a very different audience for that and this. Sometimes friends do come and appreciate Indian English plays too.
Right. But is there some amount of that retained at least in Tamil theatre by any chance?
Tamil theatre is a totally different proposition, Vinay. It's beautiful. Like any other colloquial theatre, you take Gujarati, Marathi, Hindi, Bengali, the audiences directly relate to it. I mean, it's a different state of audience, maybe, but they directly relate to it because it's easier to understand the colloquial languages. For us right now, the boys are on the terrace. They're practicing their diction for the English play that is coming up in Hyderabad next Sunday. So there is too much. Technically, as an actor, as an acting, technically put, we have to have much more finesse of the language which is not ours to present it on stage. Because we could be critiqued for anything, dropping our diction, not delivering a line properly. But you see, in local theaters, even if you make a mistake in diction or uh, delivery or moves, it goes on because the language is understood and people are there to take it in. For us, it's a very specific audience, not for me specifically, because I've been doing Indian English plays also. But for English theatre specifically, we have a separate audience.
So, Ajit, I want to ask you, like you said, English theatre, especially in Chennai, is a niche. My question is a little bit philosophical. How is it to be a non-liberal in this space? As in, what impact does it have in terms of what plays gets performed? Because theatre in itself is seen as a liberal art form.
Yeah.
And on top of that, when you add English to that element, it becomes a certain, how do I say it, the Lutyens Chennai type, right? So how do you how do you see that dynamic play itself out?
Uh, See, I remember I saw when you said Lutyens Chennai, I remember a video I saw of Sadhguru, where a journalist is behind him asking him a political question where he is not involved into politics. So Sadhguru gives an answer which to me was very logical, but the journalist with his microphone persists that no, what do you again say about this? So Sadhguru gave a very simple answer. He said, you want a controversy, right? To improve your ratings? I'm not into that. Any boxer. So it's like that. Liberal, there's nothing liberal these days, Vinny. If one person does something, there'll be 10 people to oppose, depending on their ideology or which media group they are closer with, or what are the groups of people that they hang around with. So you see, art is not, if you realize it, art is no longer about talent. There has to be a certain amount of talent. It's more about the connections that you have or which side you're taking or who are your benefactors kind of thing. I've been trying to push a very serious art form from right from the beginning, right from the inception. My closest friends who were at that time, even at that time, were well-known personalities in theatre. Most of them, not all. Some people, PC Ramakrishna, he has been encouraging me to do Indian art. But most of them kept telling me, kept advising me to do comedies, slapsticks, so that I get fame and I get the commercial aspect. That's not me. I feel for some human substance, uh, some human touch, some human feelings in every play that I do. And of late, we've been doing the Southern playwrights, Dr. Vittal Rajan, Timari Murari himself, the great Timari Murari himself, Chetan Shah, Sri Kumar Varma. They have been giving me different kinds of scripts, which are not the trend, which is out of the trend, which I am performing because I like what's in the script. There is matter in the script more than just have a laugh and go. I like comedies. I like to watch comedies. Still, there should be something for me to direct or something for me to act, which brings out the hidden part of the human psyche. A tough place, maybe. They say tough place. Actually, I think it's tougher on the audience than my boys, because my boys get into the script. Get into the script. The audience here has been manicured to watch certain kind of plays or plays by certain directors, whatever the play may be, right? But my thing is different. We did a humorous play recently, God Gets Strong Again, Old Cherries, but that did not require that much of acting because the lines as it is got them at humorous. He is an amazing writer.
You know, you were mentioning about your theater group.
Yeah.
And I've noticed this. There are multiple theater groups in Chennai, which Chennai seems to somehow get this formula very well, where they have a lot of working professionals, young college-going students who come and do, theater rehearsals and
Yeah.
participate in a lot of dramas. Like that kind of a very organized. It's actually very organized. One can call it amateur theater, but it's actually pretty well done and very systematic.
You're
Uh, yeah, what is the so I want to ask you, how is it different versus working with full-time professionals? What are the implications and pros and cons of each?
Yeah. First, I will answer the point about Chennai's actors. They're very, very disciplined. I've worked in Delhi, I've worked in the Nilgiris, but Chennai's actors, they know that, oh, something like Mumbai. I don't say totally like Mumbai. Here, they're disciplined as far as your time is there, as far as your consistency is there. If we start a workshop, for example, for the actors in the present production, they know the continuity. So they're there the next day for the workshop, also on time, taking part. This was very difficult to find in Delhi, in New Delhi, Gurgaon. There, it is only lines and moves. In amateur theater, I'm talking about. I'm not talking about professional theater. Amateur theater, because I feel there people are working all the time, going to work, coming back. The work timings are very haywire. So it is that if the actor has come that day for rehearsal, that's a great thing.
Why does Chennai get it right? No other city is able to get it right.
One of the things is Chennai is very cultural, you see. And the Tamil discipline is something that, I mean, if you realize it, the greatest people in the world were from here. If you see the greatest mathematician without whom we wouldn't have been halfway through our mathematics, is from here, Mr. Ramanujan. Yeah, people were brilliant lawyers and thinkers like Dr. Subramaniam Swami. We have all these, the greatest people, intellectually, Chennai is the capital of intellectualism. And you give a good script, they will get into it intellectually and perform. And one thing is here, the rehearsals, if you're a little strict, they run very professional. The new generation, there are some already stars who people who think that they're already stars and things like that. They have, I've got a party here, I can't come tonight. Or, my friends are waiting in Phoenix Mall, so I will have to go early. Some people. But what I do is I weed out all that. I tell them, boys, this is an art. You do one show and then see what you realized about yourself. And they love that. Begins in the rehearsal process itself. It's a very disciplined place, Chennai, first of all. But disciplined, yes, of course, very disciplined. And you know that. This is the hub of the Margali Festival. You have, in Tamil Nadu, there's a lot of art forms, dance forms, singing, vocals, and English theater is also one of them.
So there's a larger philosophical question which I want to delve with you on, Ajit, is that should art in of itself have the responsibility of being a torch or a mirror to society, or should it, in terms of covering socio-political issues, or should it just be a form of entertainment? How do you see that, especially theater?
Uh, See, every person to himself or herself, what they want. But for me, I have done my theater in a culture where you do it for passion. In Chennai, I've been since we began in 1994. Since I began my theater in 1987, we began our group in 1994. All the while, it's been mostly looking for funds. There are people to act. The youngsters, I used to stand outside colleges and malls when I started then because there were no actors the actors belong to one group or the other. So I used to stand there and look at somebody. I think this fellow fits this role. So I'll go and approach him and say, see, we are doing a play. Would you like to act? That is how I built my thing. So there was no time to think of socio-political thing for me per se. Though I have done a couple of political plays and I've done many plays with social issues. The last play that I was mentioning of Mr. Om Cherry, it was about the stigma behind having a girl child. So I do quite a lot. But I don't know how relevant it is here. It is more relevant in Tamil theatre because people identify immediately with the social problem. English theatre, I don't see that in Chennai. But what I see in Delhi, I spoke to you about the amateur theatre in Delhi, but what I see in Delhi, the great point is these kind of subjects are relevant and people come to watch it. But I feel every person to himself or herself what you want to do. In the beginning, when I came in, I was very idealistically saying, I want to bring a change to the society. I have a medium. But it is not possible, Baba. There are so many forces from outside theatre that's pulling you, from within theatre that's pulling you. Let me tell you very frankly, Vinny, this is a very serious thing. The play that we're doing, Chetan Shah's Bell Curve, it's about cricket. It's a beautiful play about cricket. It's a big play. It's a big play, like, quite a few cast members, quite a few scenes. We are trying to put it up since October. But the forces within theatre, along with the forces outside theatre, was saying that this play does not take place. Many auditoriums were cancelled. Many times cast members pulled out. And there is the usual scene of, whining, dining, and talking bad about people. And Vineet, you acted with me. You know me. It's the same old terrace. I'm not married, so there are no issues. All my money goes into theatre. We do it. But this play should not go on. Over the years, Vineet, last 15, 20 years, I've been facing the problem. Somebody is close to some media, some large media house. They see that, I should not, thespian should not be covered. I bring in cast members, they're pulled out. So for me, it's become a bigger process. In the sense, instead of casting and going ahead with the production, I'll have to first check that this new cast, who will be with us, who will dump us in the last moment, who are they connected to, which groups are handling them, that kind of thing. So that way it's become, it's a very serious thing. But I think we have rode over it. This particular play was telling, sorry, you could.
But is this because of the content you're covering, or is this about the dynamics between the different
It
groups?
is just the power politics in theatre in Chennai. So many people love me, Mr. P.C. Ramakrishna loves me, the playwrights, four of them love me. So many others love me still. And there was also, it's very stupid with it. One powerful group, which was powerful, now they don't do any more theatre for the past 3-4 years, which was connected to some media group. They started the trend of influencing, how power works. Influencing, somebody is doing well, okay, get some girl and, make her, the Me Too thing. They used to link that person, Me Too, destroy the group. They tried some shit with me also. I went to all my friends, I went to the veterans. I said, this is what's happening to me. See, this is what they're doing to me. They got four girls to, one girl got a job out of the four. The second girl got an advertisement video to shoot of an amusement park. The third girl, I think she has gone abroad and somebody helped her go abroad. There's a fourth girl. Luckily, all these girls, when they worked with me, there was somebody or the other from some other group also working with me. So the allegations didn't stick, but they tried to prove it. This is what one great, I don't want to mention names because after all, they're also my friends, they're Chennaiites. One great group which was functioning, so far. It was doing to all the people that did not like. And then finally in 2019, a girl came to my group to work and she told me what happened in their group, how they tried. And I said, what did you do? Did you go and speak to somebody? They said, no, we spoke to the head of the group. How will the head of the group let these people, let this issue come out? That she has also been, what do we say? She has also been, what can we say, harassed and things like that in the same firm. And and then soon as the Me Too thing took shape, there was a committee formed and there's one thing looking into all those things and one of the heads of that group is on the top. So isn't it ridiculous, Vineet? I do pure theatre, Vineet, just pure theatre. A good script. I have good actors. If we need more actors, I train them. We go ahead with the production. Many productions we had scant attendance because in Chennai, one person's friends go only to see watch their plays. It's not open like Delhi. Delhi, I will watch or anybody else will watch every play that's coming up. Now, if I'm going to watch only my plays or my friend's plays, how will I know how theatre is developing? But for philosophizing, everybody is there in the front. Sorry, Vineet, I've been very blatant.
No, no problem. But you mentioned, like in the last few years, especially when the pandemic was in full swing,
Huh.
how were the theater groups impacted? Did any of them fold during that time, and how did they survive?
No, let me tell you something. The white collar groups, I call them, who do less theatre and more politics, they didn't do any theatre. But the real theatre people went on doing theatre. Like Balakrishna of Theatre Nisha, he was waiting for a gap between the lockdowns to do a play. He was waiting. Charles, who runs Medai, he was waiting. How do I do a show in the meantime? During the thing. The white collar groups, they just sat on their, and waited. Because for them, it is not about theatre, it is about themselves and it's about politics and theatre. The pure theatre groups are very, very few. P.C. Ramakrishna was striving to do something at that time. He tried that. And I think the play could not be performed in Chennai, but he got a show in the US somewhere. See, these are the people who have developed theatre from scratch with a lot of selflessness, and there are the white collar groups.
But then the number of shows would have been much lower, the attendance much lower due to guidelines and stuff like that. So how did they actually? Because the money would have been really
Yeah.
hard to.
You are
Like,
very, very right, very to the money, but these groups do theatre they live on theatre. The groups which did theatre, and there was this, there were rules that every second seat has to be left alone and things like that. Masking, those things work here. Financially, these groups they will do theatre whatever happens, Baba. It's not like the people who say, "Oh, when time is convenient for me and everything is all right, then I will do a show and earn my name because I have my connections here and there." It's like that. And another interesting question, another interesting point that you asked in this question was the attendance was, the attendance. People were waiting to go and watch a play. Myself, for example, when Para did his first play or Charles called me and said, Ajit, in Tamil, Ajit in the date in the play boardroom, I was there. I wanted to go and see some theatre. That is the thing. So people were waiting. waiting for to get some respite from the lockdowns and things like that. Financially, also, everybody was shut down. Baba. Those who wanted to do theater put their own money into theater.
It's a much larger question, especially for youngsters who want to take this up seriously and passionately, maybe even full time. Is it possible to make a living in theater in India today? One.
Sorry, but
Uh,
maker.
is it possible to make a living being full time in theater in India today? One. Second, how easily or how often do theater actors move to graduate to TV or films? How translatable are those skills? Both these two things.
Very first thing we have to understand, or we understand as it is, you and me, that we are very fortunate. Our education has been provided for, a decent living has been provided for. So for us, doing theater it isn't that difficult. But making a living in amateur theater is very difficult. Some groups, as I told you, some white collar groups have done it. They've made enough left, right, and center in the name of theater without even doing theater, just with workshops, just by making deals. Okay. So for some people, it's easy. Some people who have already made a name, some client calls them to do a show, they charge and they make it okay. But for most of us, it's a little difficult to beat. Amateur theater. Unless you sell your house, sell your, I mean, sell your, whatever, not house, but sell your show that day. Sell the house that day for the show. Okay? Sell the show that day. See, one thing is your funding should be complete even before the first ticket has sold. That means funding will look after the production costs, and you sell the tickets, you make the money. But with that ticket money, how many of us can share that money decently? Right?
Right, right. I mean, that's the whole question, right? Because somehow, like, for example, in the West, whether it's West End or Broadway, people actually make a living from
Huh.
the actors, the crew, the cast, the crew, all of that. That still hasn't actually happened.
But Vineet, if you see world over, art is still struggling. Without funding, you cannot do art. See, Broadway, you're talking about the people who are in those professional shows, right? Even in Delhi, Mumbai, the established people make their money.
Oh, they do?
Of course they do. I mean, I can't go to Nasiruddin and say, please do a show for me for free. Right? I can't do that. I can't go to Mr.
Yeah.
Ajit Kapoor and say, please do a show for me for free. Right? I can't ask them to do that, right? So they will charge. They will have to. See, that is one. There's a good thing in that. That people are sustaining. But the drawback there is, I found actually money is very very important. But the drawback there is whenever I try to turn commercial, do a commercial show, I found that the purity of the craft was missing. I mean, there is a group here which does some musicals yearly, annual musicals. I've heard directors who are my friends, the past directors of that show. They say suddenly a week before the show, the producer says that this big shot wants a role, so she's going to do a song there. So you have to change the script 1 week before the show. Thank God I don't have that dilemma. I take a solid stick. I work on the terms of a poor Hollywood production. In the sense, like Hollywood, everything begins with a script, a story, and a script. Here, I get a script from the playwright. I work on it. That's it. I don't have to cut. I don't have to give a role to a very, very wealthy person who says that I'm going to sponsor this show. No, boss. If you're good enough for the role, you'll get it. If you're not good enough, you'll get some other role. That's the way. Because if I do that, the people with talent, the people, hard workers, the people from the lower strata, they have nowhere to go. Here it is for the person who's dedicated, who's giving me the time, who has the talent, and who deserves that role gets the role. It doesn't matter who comes. I think in the past people have come. I can change your group and this and that. Arey Baba. I do theater which pleases me, which I'm satisfied with. Right? I see what I'm doing injustice to a person who's coming every day doing his exercises and rehearsing. If I'm going to shift him out of that role and give it to a person who has all the connections and contacts just because I need that advantage from him. No, I do very pure. That way, earning a living is very difficult.
So, what is the future, according to you, of English as well as regional theatre in India going forward?
See, yeah, very good question. I'll tell you, today's time, it's very relevant because theater is the base of all acting, right? So from here, theater is the base of all acting, so people learn here. You'll find some film stars who are very, very popular and their films always be hit. They cannot act actually. There are some stars who, not taking away from the stars who give great performances every time they go on screen. When we watch them on screen, they give great performances. But most of the film stars, they can't act. No, acting means, in colloquial terms, in Bollywood terms, acting means he has to dance well, he has to do this well, he has to fight well in this. I'm talking about acting, acting. That way, if you see one of my favorite films, Indian films, is Iruvar, Mr. Maniratnam's Iruvar. It had class acting. It had the era sets and designs, everything, and what acting it was. Right? Now, coming to the same point that you asked, it is very relevant because they start acting here. If you see the Tamil trend, South Indian trend, you see Ponniyin Selvan, PS1, it had so many theatre actors in it. I'm so happy about it. They're making a living. The script, one of the persons who was in charge of the script was Mr. Kumar Rave. He's from Puthupatran, the purest form of theatre in South India. Right? So they're doing well. I mean, it is important for them because most of them are not like us, Baba. For me, I have a house to live in. I have my monthly income. Right? I can do theatre. But most of them need to earn money to run. This is India after all. So need money to run their families. They get married. They have to look after the wife, or the wife will be out with the neighbor. Okay? They'll have children. You have to save for your children. There are so many things here, right? So it is good that they go there, but I hope they keep the tradition of theatre alive there. They're all great actors. Ponniyin Selvan, you see, all great theatre actors were there. Apart from that, I hope they sustain the greatness of theatre there also. You see, most of the actors, you name them. Mr. Sanjeev, late Mr. Sanjeev Kumar, the great actor. The Mr. Sholay, he's from theatre. The great Nana Patekar is from theatre. You see here, all the stalwarts are from theatre. You see Mr. M.G. Ramchandran, Mr. N.T. Ramarao, Mr. Akineni Nageshwar Rao, Mr. Raj Kumar. All of them are from theatre, theatre based.
How do those skills translate from between theatre, TV, and film? And can a theatre actor move towards the others more easily than a cinema or a TV actor moving towards theatre? How do those?
Yeah, I got your point. There are 2 points here, Vineet. First is the theatre actor moving into films or TV is a slight change. Is a slight change because on stage you have to use your body quite a lot, your voice quite a lot. The change is very subtle because you don't have to use your body so much in film or TV. Or your voice, you don't have to use it live. You can go to the studio and dub it later, right? The other way around is more difficult. I mean, the kind of theatre I do, it is very difficult because film acting isn't stage acting for me. Stage acting is live and you have to synchronize your mind with your body and voice at the same time as well as your emotions, right? So it is very difficult that way. What happens in India or all over the world, you see, is a film star acts in a play, though he or she would have never had an experience of a play. The show will sell because of the star value. You know what I mean? So it'll sell. You have a houseful show, 3 days show, 3 days houseful, because the star is there. But whether that is really stage acting, I don't know.
Right, right. Great. And what about your current project or your upcoming projects? Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. Uh, right now, we are working on Bell Curve. It is a play on cricket, essentially. But there's a side story of a romance between the underworld Bronze Mall and the young computer software engineer. So it goes on like that. It's a beautiful play, very humorously written by Chetan Shah in his own style of humor. And knowing Chetan Shah, his last two plays and this one also, there's a lot of technicalities involved in the production. It is being held at Ravindra Bharati in Hyderabad on 26th, that is the next Sunday, 26th February at 6 p.m. And it's a beautiful show. It's a different kind of, it's not like a play where there is a story which takes you to this thing. This is a beautiful ultra modern play that he has done without offending anybody. Because cricket is, it is, I mean, as much politics as you find in the assemblies, you find that in cricket these days.
Right, right. But anything else apart from that in the pipeline?
Yeah. So bell curve is next weekend. So we finish with that and we take a 2 or 3 weeks break, and then we come on with Timeri Murari, the famous Mr. Timeri N. Murari, who's a best-selling author of so many million copies of each one of his books. We're coming up with his Hey Hero. Incidentally, Hey Hero is the play that only our group has produced and performed it in India. We've done, I think, 4 or 5 play shows of it already. Three in Chennai, one in Delhi. It's a beautiful play. It is when he was working, he was writing for some newspaper or magazine in London. He was following a story about a gang war between the whites and the blacks. It's a beautiful story where the white leader is put into prison. When he comes out, he doesn't want to be a criminal anymore. And what goes through him. It's a beautiful play, which Tim, because he's such a great writer, has translocated the entire thing to a local Chennai slum. So it's a gang fight in the local Chennai slum. It's a beautiful play. I mean, we've had houseful audiences wherever we have performed it. It's going to be performed. Like we're going into the production means first we have to cast and then get into the reading. I mean, get into the readings and then cast and then take it ahead. I want to do an all India tour with this actually because this doesn't have too much in the way of sets and other paraphernalia. So it's just that the cast travels from one place to another.
What is your view on method acting and the
Ah,
natural kind of acting? How do you separate the two? Which side do you fall on?
no, it's not the side. It is once again what suits somebody. Okay. I have worked under the late Bhagirathi Narayanan, who was, by the way, a mentor of sorts to the great P.C. Ramakrishna. She was a fabulous director. I've acted with few other directors. Those days, what it was you rehearse for a period of time. When you build your character, you go on stage with your character on, which I like to do even today. Today, you find, oh, we don't have an actor. One group brings an acha, immediately cast somebody up. Put these are your lines. This is what you do. So there is no mind in that. There's only body and voice. Of course, there are some wonderful actors in Chennai, a couple of them, who get into the character within 2 days. I've seen these guys and I admire them a lot. Okay? But our process is our process and I still follow them. Now it's become like fast food theater. Like 2 days, you do this role, this kind of thing. That doesn't work with me at all.
But do you have any actor? Do you have any special story like that where an actor comes and says, "Ajit, I'm playing I'm playing, a grumpy character, so I'm just going to act grumpy around you," or something like that? Like who just like
With me,
want to live the part?
well, it happens. See, what happens is I don't have a family. I live alone. So what happens is my family becomes the current cast that I'm working with, right? Now the cast members during the rehearsals, respect me a lot. Even Chotus, 20-year-olds, 18-year-olds. Before and after rehearsal, they treat me like another guy. They don't care for you. They're on their own. Then I say, guys, you're going out somewhere. I don't want to come down. No. The youngsters are going, just shut up and sit. But during rehearsals, it's a different thing. They have to listen to me. That's the rule I make. Because, after rehearsals, after the production, they go back into their personal lives. I cannot really, control their personal lives. It's their life, right? Here we have people who, like some person gets into character really, he starts behaving like that. And then we guys say, Maja, what happened to him? Why is he like this? Then we have to do a lot of thinking whether he's trying to pull our leg or he's really into it kind of thing. Right now, you see the lead role of this thing, a 21-year-old boy. He does all the other work and comes and does his rehearsal perfectly. Whereas there is me who has to sit and, go into some kind of meditation before I go into stage. So there is a lot of difference.
So Ajit, before we end the show, why don't you call your lead actor? Hi.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
Hi.
So I am also a ex-thespian and theatre actor. I've worked with Ajit in the past, almost 10 years back.
Oh, wow.
And this is like a podcast we were doing. So I just wanted to know how is the rehearsals going on and what parts are you guys playing?
So the rehearsals are going really good. We are.
Firstly, your names, please.
So my name is Aditya, and this is Jyoti.
Okay.
So,
And in the play, he's playing as Rahul and Mona.
so I'm the hero. She's the heroine, and
Okay.
rehearsals are really going too good. It's hectic, but we are working hard for it. What else do I have to say?
I'm feeling super jealous, man. I used to be in that spot at one time.
You can still be there on the side of the table too.
Yeah, sure. But so maybe you guys can just say one or two lines of your dialogue.
So yeah, many years ago, 17 to be precise, she left me stranded at the altar. Well, the airport to be precise.
17 years ago, I get pregnant. I wanted to keep my child. I don't want it to blackmail.
Is it good?
Absolutely. Great. Nice to have you guys.
Yes, thank you.
When I come to Chennai, we'll probably connect.
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, buddy. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing well. Yeah, what character are you playing and how
So,
is the preparations
apart
going on?
from you met Aditya and Jyoti, so apart from them, there are three other characters in the play who are part of a jury, a panel. Hi, I'm Kunal.
Hi.
Let me introduce
Okay.
you to the third member in the jury. The chairman. So his name is Ram. He's also a filmmaker.
Oh, perfect. I think Ajit knows how to cast his people. He just has the aura of a chairman. So how is the preparation going on? When is your next show?
Our next show is going to be on 26th at Hyderabad. After that, Ajit will tell us.
Oh, so you're traveling to Hyderabad. Nice. Okay, so with that, we come to the end of today's show. Thank you so much, Ajit, for joining us. It was a very pleasant conversation and good to connect with you after such a long time.
And not at all, Vineet. But I hope I answered your questions, Vineet, because some of the questions you put forward were very critical questions. I hope I answered them to your satisfaction, or else, we can continue for the next 15 minutes. It's up to you. Did you
No,
get the answers?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
Great.
thanks,
Okay.
thanks, Vineet. I hope to see you in Chennai soon and do a production when you have time with us.
Absolutely.
Again. Right?
Okay.
Thanks, Vineet.